East Podcast, WATP.
Joe Matarese recently did a stand-up show that he bombed miserably. And I know that's not surprising to anyone. What's fun about this is that he decided he was going to live stream it to his YouTube. So he sets up a camera in the back. It looks like maybe a phone.
Definitely a phone.
And hits record on it and is all excited to perform for these people. So what's going to happen here is we're going to watch Joe bomb because we need to get the context. Joe then removed this from the internet. I think it was Stalin19 that re-uploaded it for us. Thank you very much, Stalin19.
Thank you, Stalin19.
So Joe took this down. He didn't want anyone to see it. But then he went and live streamed afterwards to explain the debacle that just happened. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to watch the bombing, and then we're going to hear his explanation for it.
Let's get it.
You know, and it's too bad we don't get to see the entire bombing because we just get to see him
I
lay the
know.
groundwork for what actually ruined the show. We don't get to see the, in fact, ruined show.
Right. And we will get to that. Let's start with this very rough start. This does not look like a comedy club, by the way. It looks like just a restaurant where they set up a mic
I
stand.
thought it was a classroom, but
Yeah, it could be a classroom, could be a library. Not a comedy club, that's for sure.
Wow, that was really good. You guys really killed it there. Thank you for clapping like you had pretty much no idea who the fun of the meeting was going to be. How are you here on a Saturday night going to see someone you didn't know who it was going to be? Did you just what happened? Did they grab you on the street? Were you walking by and you were like, and then boom, next thing you know, you're at an Italian comedy show. Is that how it happened? Is this like a jury duty kind of situation here in Stamford?
They don't know who you are, Joe. Move on. Make them laugh. Tell some jokes.
Oh, they didn't see his new special?
I guess they weren't familiar with his new special. They didn't realize it's 93.7% Italian. They don't know what he's up to. Now, Joe Matarese was on Last Comic Standing. I think he was on a couple of those reality shows, America's Got Talent, stuff like that. But this is a couple decades ago.
yeah.
I mean, no one recognizes Joe Matarese as not a famous guy. So the fact that he gets up there, he's just like, you guys don't even know who I am, is a weird way to start a show.
Hasn't he ever heard of saying, how's everybody doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming out tonight, guys. He's almost scolding them for being there. Like, why the fuck would you come here? You don't even know who I am. Oh, because it's a comedy show, and I thought I'd giggle a little bit.
I didn't even know who he was. He didn't introduce himself, so.
He didn't, did he?
No.
He just goes up there and goes,
I
you
thought
guys
he
don't
was
even
the
know who I
fucking
am.
host,
Right.
to be honest with you.
All right.
Maybe
Well-
that was the host coming off before him. Maybe he had a better spot.
So what he tries to do to start off is just going to riff on he's in Stamford. So Stamford, Connecticut.
Oh, Stanford, stand up. There's something you could do
There's
with
something
that.
you could do with that. But no, he wants to talk about parking and how many homeless people there are.
Oh, so it gets worse than what he was just doing.
Oh, it gets way worse. He wants to try to relate to the audience, and this is not great.
What is it? Is it that express stop to Manhattan? Is that what makes Stamford the lore? You guys aren't even from Stamford. What the fuck's going on here? You guys from Stamford? All right. What's the lore? Why is it all of a sudden everybody wants to live here? Low
I think
taxes?
they got the joke. They just didn't think it was funny.
It's
Right.
the sixth borough of New York City. I know, but it's like fucking 58 minutes in traffic. Like, on a good night, it's an hour and two.
By the way, you just touched on one of my pet peeves in comedy because you're a comic and you work with comedians. I hate when a joke doesn't go over well and they blame the audience immediately. It's like, oh, you guys don't like that type of humor, huh?
Immediately.
If you're not laughing, it's because
you got to adjust your set at that
It's
point.
coming.
I literally had that conversation with Ray DeVito at Hackmania in Las Vegas because he came out on fire and everyone's loving it. And then he transitioned into his set and people weren't laughing. He's just like, they just don't want to hear my set. They just wanted to hear the jokes about Misery Loves Company and the Dabbleverse. They're like, no, they just want to hear funny jokes.
Yeah.
It's just like every comedy audience. That's all they're looking for.
Well, it was
Gotta get 'em going.
He was kind of set up to fail there, I think, if he just went up there and did material. That was certainly a different context than this, though.
Certainly a different context.
They knew Ray DeVito.
Oh my gosh, he came up to a standing ovation.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good way to start a show, I would think.
He came up to backs to him, I think.
Yeah.
And he said, guys,
think
I'm
you're
a comedian
right.
tonight.
So immediately he's going to start off with this sucks, this show sucks. This is not a good way to win people over.
Do you know how much better I thought this was going to be while I was driving up here? person pizza place?
No, I don't mean to interrupt Joe here, but there is a point to be made. The opener must have really eaten it for him to feel this bad about the show.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't. He did him a favor by not live streaming the guy before, and we all said, "Joe, you saved the show."
Right. That's a good point. Or maybe there wasn't even an opener.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
a
the guy who
nightmare.
introduced him is just like the host. They're like, hey, can you introduce Joe
The
Matarese
server.
for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, just grab the server and ask him to do that. So I don't like the thing where it's like, man, this show sucks. This is a dump. Like, how do you recover from that?
Yeah,
You're
no.
digging yourself a hole.
Yeah, and you
Don't
have
do
to be
that.
a professional, dude. And regardless of when talent comes into the club, I express to them, listen, there are paid patrons here, like whether it's 2 to 30 or to 100 or a couple hundred, man. Those people are there for comedy. You better make them laugh.
Whenever the local comedians talk about Joe Matarese there in that northeastern area, they always say, you know, he's a professional. He's been working all this time. At least if you see him live, he's going to make the room laugh. You know, we can make fun of him online, but he's a great professional stand-up comedian. So that word professional always comes up.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened.
Yeah, this is not professional anyway. And to your point, you know, we were talking before, I've been playing in bands for a very long time.
Yeah.
I've played shows in front of a lot of people. I've played shows in front of a few people. I don't adjust my act accordingly.
No, you have to adjust your mindset, though,
Yes.
because, of course, we all want those huge audiences
Yeah.
and the great response and the feedback and stuff. But sometimes
Why not just have a great performance every
dude,
time?
those
The
intimate
best you
shows
can do.
can sometimes be the best.
I actually get more nervous when there's fewer people.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
It's odd how that works. But this guy thought, for some dumb reason, I guess he needs to talk to his manager or something. He thought there were going to be 700 people at this show.
That sounded like whoa, I thought there'd be about 700 people here. I did. I have my camera back there. I don't know if you can see it. And I'm live streaming right now to 12 people on YouTube.
I would have never admitted that.
Well, a couple things here. First off, Joe Matarese, I know he's an older guy. He's a boomer. But vertical aspect ratio for live streaming to YouTube? What are you doing?
I think that's in these days.
No.
I think it's
16
changed.
by
It's
9.
actually reversed back.
No. You have a flip phone. You can't fucking tell me what the correct aspect ratio is for streaming.
We're learning.
Okay,
We're actually
I
looking
guess you
forward.
can.
When we get to Boston, I'm going to try one of these live streams. So
good.
maybe now I've take a good tip here. We'll flip it sideways.
Well, literally, there are times when he walks over to one side or the other and he's off screen. So it's like, yeah, you probably want this set up horizontally so that we can capture the whole stage.
Are we sure this isn't cropped to keep the kids out of frame? Maybe I'm spoiling it. What do we?
Maybe you're spoiling it. He doesn't know about the kids yet, and neither do we. So what's interesting here, he says, I thought there were going to be 700 people. So I'm live streaming this on YouTube right now to 12 viewers. Now that sounds like it's self-deprecating. Okay, he's making a joke. He's not. There were probably less than 12 people watching this as he's live streaming it. So not a lie, not an exaggeration.
Rough.
Just is what it is. So now he talks about walking around the town again and how it's not scary. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's a nice neighborhood. We're familiar with that.
There's nobody scary here. You don't even have homeless people here in Stamford, do you? No, they're here. They work here. You guys hired them all. They're all
They're not
around
there.
here. That's what's going on. I don't know what that just meant. I don't know what you thought. I'm just trying to explain to you.
This is open mic level.
That's what I was just
nervous
thinking.
riffing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no homeless people. I guess they all work here, right, guys? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to riff through it.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Yeah.
He would go somewhere with the safety aspect. He's really just he's searching for anything.
He's searching for anything. And this is the beginning of his set. Like, you got to be prepared at the beginning of your set, you would think.
And he'll admit later he hasn't even gotten. He said, I hadn't even gotten to the top of my paper yet. This is really
that's correct.
This is him winning the audience.
So he just put out a special. Mike Geary has reviewed it.
It's a great special.
On their Patreon. Did you enjoy his
I
special?
very much enjoyed it. My mother very much enjoyed it. It's maybe for a specific age demographic, but it's a great stuff. If you like that back in my day humor, you'll very much enjoy it. And there's a visual element. It's original. It's unique. I complimented him. He was very short. I think this actually really hurt his spirit. Because after I saw this, I said, I got to reach out to Joe Matarese. I feel really bad about this whole incident. And I complimented his special. And often he's a little more wordy and he gives me some back and forth. He just said, thank you very much, and just kind of dropped it there. So I think this really hurt his spirit.
Oh, it probably did. Also, he might see that you're friends with Mike Geary and he is not a fan of that. That could be something. You got to be careful who you hang out with on the internet.
Oh, well, Joe Matarese knows that everything's great. We've only had pleasant conversation. We even text.
You even text with Joe Matarese?
Right.
I didn't know that.
Man, this
Wow.
guy knows
He's very
people.
accessible.
David
He's a-
Collins,
You
bro.
got an in.
Yeah.
Joe Matarese is a very nice and funny guy.
Isn't that funny? You can't get in touch with Ray DeVito, but Joe Matarese you're chatting with all night.
Right. That's a good point. Interesting.
Why weren't we hanging out at this open mic the other day?
Yeah, man. You guys should have came up sooner. Could have been part of this. Well, it's not an open mic, and he's going to explain he has a strategy for this show because he just put out a special, and you guys know when you put out a special, you've burned that material.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone's seen it.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Everyone's already seen that material.
Yes,
So
yeah.
now you got to do all new stuff.
And now I'm trying to start over with all new material.
Like Seinfeld,
And then
comedian.
these are the kind of shows you do where you don't give a fuck. And you gotta just start building. You know what I'm talking about? I know you guys paid a cover, but I'll do some, and you'll find it funny. But I put a set list together right here as I was driving up of material that I've never done before.
He's got to make it so he can read it.
Because comedians, we should trust that we're funny, right? I've been doing this since I was 19. I'm now 56 years old. So I should be good at it. This is gonna be like my podcast, but with a live audience. Shit, that ice beam poured in the back's gonna fuck me up though. I can tell that. Are you filling an ice bin? Are you expecting a big rush?
Delicious, you haven't seen this, right?
No, I have not.
Can you believe
have
what he's
not.
doing? He's explaining that he's going to tell you
Yeah,
jokes. I
yeah,
wrote down what I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah.
say. I'm going to say them.
Yep.
You're going to find it funny. What the fuck are you doing, Joe?
Yeah.
And at a
You
certain
know,
point, get to your act. Let's go.
Yeah, I see comics do this though. They get all pissed off because or into a mood because they don't have the crowd they want or the people that they want there, or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
It's not working out
So
perfectly.
then they automatic turn it into a fuck this.
I feel like I'm in a
yeah.
lecture hall right
Yeah,
now. He's like,
yeah.
I wrote jokes.
Like
'cause I
they
put out a
gave up
thing.
and now they're just pulling out from the behind the curtain. Now they're revealing it, and it's just, it kind of sucks. I hate when that happens, but
The worst thing he can do is compare this set he's about to perform is to his podcast.
yeah.
You're right. It's failed miserable podcast that he had to take off the internet.
He said-
because everyone was making fun of it.
I thought I'd come here and do it, sort of like my podcast.
Yeah, don't do that, Joe. Abort.
Don't
What are you
kill
doing?
the podcast too.
All right, so you just heard that there sounds like someone's pouring ice into a bucket near where his camera
Well, he
is.
said it
Os
was at a
Singles is in the
pizza
audience.
joint, right? Is that what he said? A pizza restaurant?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
So-
that can seat 700.
So now he's got, yeah, right. Makes perfect sense, right? Did you have no conversation with your manager about any of this? So then he goes into ice bin jokes. He's going to start riffing now because you got to react to what's going on in the room
Okay.
in real time.
Are you filling an ice bin? Are you expecting a big rush? There's 9 people here. She's got a winter shovel out. Holy shit, there's 9 more people here. Get to noise. They're fucking ordering sodas, son of a bitches. So I put this whole set list together.
Oof.
Put Joe on ice.
Yeah.
You know, the worst part about this is he said, I've been doing this since I'm 19. I'm 56 now.
Yeah.
And then he can't even riff on a noise in the back. He has no idea. And everyone's just looking at him like, okay, man, if you want to start your set at a certain point, that'd be great. All right.
Yeah, introduce yourself, sir.
This is where things start to go a little sideways.
That's what live entertainment has become, everybody, in 2024. Have you noticed that? This isn't even on the list. When we go see a live concert now,
I'm glad you reacted like that. It's like, this isn't even on the list. Whatever. We don't know your list. We don't care.
I thought we were going to the list was the whole thing. That was the
So
point
ridiculous.
of him pulling it out.
I've never seen a band perform where they're just like, by the way, that last song, not even on the set list. We just decided to play it. Like, okay.
That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, just do that. You don't have to tell us.
Yeah, exactly.
we can have front row seats. And you know what we do? We look at the screen. We're like, oh, look at see his dick. Look at it. It's like he's right fucking there. You can touch Bono's dick. You can touch his dick, but I gotta watch him on the screen, right?
So now he's getting a
I was
little
kind of lost there.
now he's starting to make some crasser jokes, and I think that this is what actually prompts the whole
Yeah.
issue. When I had first watched this, I had thought to myself, you had barely made any crass jokes yet. Why don't
Yeah.
you at least make a dirty material, make people uncomfortable, and then everybody will understand where you're coming from. But I guess he does have one.
You talked about Bono's dick right there.
Right.
So there's that. Although I have to say, you know, when you have this observational humor like this, and I realize that he's just trying to riff, it has to be linked with reality.
Yeah.
No one in the front row is staring up at the screen. You would be staring at Bono right in front of you. That's kind of naturally where your eyes would go. But okay.
Or even watching the live stream from their phone might be a different, would be
Yeah.
an angle on there.
Yeah, you watch the concert through your iPhone.
Yeah.
I've seen
Instead of
that.
Staring at it.
Seen that before, sure.
Drives me nuts, dude.
Oh, put
This
your fucking
younger
phone down.
Yeah.
Put your fucking phone down.
Yeah.
Hey,
Enjoy the show.
This song that you love, it's already on YouTube
Yeah.
with a 12 camera shoot and perfect mix. You can watch it live anytime you want. You don't need to record it.
Get these
Right.
fucking kids that'll sit there,
Idiots.
record the show for 2 hours, and then watch that shit back.
And it sounds like
Launch-
garbage. It's
yeah.
all overmodulated. And let's talk about audio
Yeah.
problems for a minute.
Boy, Joe, I hope you're taking notes.
All right, so this is I know, right? Look at us riff. Watch out. All right, so he recognizes that there's children sitting next to him in the audience.
Oh, fuck.
YouTube, I didn't notice this. There's a mom here with 2 6-year-olds. No wonder this sucks. How did this? You can't do this. What are you doing? I'm not clean. I'm not a clean comedian. How old is he? You're 8. Oh yes, I'm sure he wants to hear about pubes and vaginas.
More than anybody else, I imagine.
He's
He's trying to think of dirty stuff, and he goes to
for a
pubes and
6-year-old.
vaginas.
Actually, Joe, you would be perfect for a 6-year-old.
Yeah. No shit. Pubes. This guy's great, Bob. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
So then he starts to scold this person who has children.
I don't know. You can't bring kids to a comedy show. In the YouTube, there's the one next to her is even younger. So we have an 8-year-old.
I hate when he talks to YouTube.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like-
'cause you're not addressing anybody.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
I don't consider myself YouTube
yeah,
when I'm
neither
watching
do I.
YouTube.
Yeah,
You know, like, oh, he's talking to me.
No,
oh,
I would
cool.
be
I'm
thinking of the
YouTube.
other dipshits that are watching it on YouTube.
Hopefully, he doesn't take any other advice from OJ.
Right.
Next to her is even younger. So we have an 8-year-old. They're twins? That's another 8-year-old? Have you been sitting there the whole time with the kids?
Yeah. He's about to walk one of his few audience members.
Oh, it's worse than that.
You have no idea.
It's actually worse than that. Check this out.
I guess 3 audience members.
Check this out. He actually makes them leave.
Oh,
Oh my God. Now I want to be dirtier. I want you to leave. I'm very uncomfortable right now. I don't feel comedy doesn't work with little kids in the room. Did you pay a cover? Did you pay the cover? No, you didn't. Get the fuck out of here now. I'm sorry. You just get to comedy with 2 little kids sitting right there.
Get her, Joe.
It's weird. Especially while I'm streaming to live right now. I'm filming this. And I don't want you to think I'm kicking you out. I'm just, these people paid to come in and see the show, and I'm not going to be able to be funny. I'll have to talk about, like, Barney. What can I talk about with 8-year-olds in the crowd?
What can you talk about to 8-year-olds? Not Barney. Barney? He thinks an 8-year-old is watching fucking Barney? How out of touch is this guy?
She didn't pay to get in. She was there to tell him you are the father.
Yeah, right. Now that would be a twist. That would be a fun
That's
twist.
how I
on
got
this.
in with my kids, Joe.
The kids certainly didn't pay. You don't have to cater the show to them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the kids is, because I didn't pull this clip, but one of the kids is like wearing earbuds anyway.
See?
Kids
Yeah.
are on their phones playing video games. They don't give
yeah,
a
yeah.
fuck about what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they're talking about pussies and dicks, not vaginas and pubic hair.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. All right. So this is the last clip, and then we'll figure out what went wrong here. But this is just very uncomfortable.
Should I have been making notes?
Oh no, I think you're understanding perfectly what's going on.
All right, now it's really uncomfortable. This is good. No. I mean, it's they think I'm doing something bad. That's just the way. This is how my career goes, by the way. As soon as I hit live, there's 8-year-olds in the fucking room. I'm gonna have to shut the live off. Does this wire reach out there?
No.
No.
Put it in the buckle.
This is fun. This is real life. This is good. If you paid, I'll give you your money back. Not my money. Did you pay? She didn't pay. They have the most lenient.
He's got his own little box screen and chicken puzzle
comedy working
in
here.
his hands here.
Well,
you see they're on the set of Barbarian.
Were you guys with her? Yeah, this is gonna be great. Good thing I got paid in advance. Can you guys move up to their seats? Can you guys move up? Because you guys are like a football.
I didn't hear that
field
the first
away.
time. Can we take note that he says, thank God I got paid in advance? I don't
Yes.
believe that's true.
Oh, I think he did get paid in advance. I think he talks about
In
that.
the live stream, he says, I hope I get paid.
Oh shit, really? Okay, let's listen for that then.
You guys are like a football field away. Let's come up. Let's come up. Let's come up. Don't blame me.
Do you see how he's not even on the camera all this time because he set it up as the vertical ratio?
Yeah.
I don't care what the kid's like. It's bad. It's wrong.
Landscape, yeah.
Okay. So after this happens, he walks over, turns off his phone. We never get to see any more of this. And then, like I said, he deleted it from YouTube. But then he goes on, I don't know if this is Instagram or YouTube or whatever, but he goes on after the gig to explain what happened, why this happened the way that it did.
Hello.
Just walking the streets of
I got
Stamford.
a lot to explain here.
Yes, you
see
do.
If some of you guys all come on live that tried to watch that live stream earlier.
No one was watching it, Joe,
Wait
and no
till
one's
a
watching
bunch of
this.
us come on before I'll explain.
Only 2 are in here.
What actually
Which
went
2,
down?
He asks, because he's on a first name basis.
Tell what actually went down if you were watching it earlier. As I'm losing my voice. Comedy. It's fucking crazy what just happened. A show in Connecticut. Let's see if anybody comes on to the live stream.
It's just nobody watching
He's
this.
still waiting for someone to join.
Yeah.
I'm walking to my car after the show here in Stamford.
I realize he's heavily medicated, but
Only
how-
2 of yous are on so
What, from
far.
a dental procedure?
yeah, how is he living with
Which
himself?
two are
He's
here?
56. He just bombed miserably at a
Where's
comedy club
everybody?
or whatever he was. And then he comes out to talk to people on the internet and no one's watching
one's
him.
there.
Like at a certain point, you just be like, none of this is working, Joe. What are you doing?
Yeah. Was there
This is all so
anybody there to
pathetic.
begin with?
If his goal is to make me feel so bad that I stop talking about him, he's almost there.
Yeah.
We've almost, and I don't do that very often, but we've almost reached the point where I'm just like, oh, he can't help himself. This
Yeah.
poor man. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, I there's something about having a recap that's 2.5 times longer than what your original live stream was. That's very sad.
It goes on for 25 minutes. He walks all the way to his car, gets into his car.
Does anybody
starts
get on?
driving.
Does anybody get on the live stream for?
Yeah, a
his,
couple people. There's a couple people
okay.
watching.
Maybe he was texting them.
He sits in the
While
car
he
in
was
silence
waiting.
and just thinks about his life while alive.
He Bud Dwyer's it. So he tells us what his plan was. This is interesting. This is what his plan was for this show.
So I had planned on trying to do something kind of fun, which was put a whole set list of material together with all new stuff. And I was going to riff it. And show you guys live me doing it, having fun on stage.
So I have some questions. Is it all new stuff or are you just riffing?
Yeah.
Well, it's one or the other. Like I was telling you guys at breakfast, I saw Sam Morril recently. He's got a new special coming out next week. So he was doing all new material.
Yeah.
And he came up and he had a piece of paper with him and he's looking at, okay, yeah, that's the next thing I'm going to go into. And it was fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah.
Hilarious, really funny stuff. And Joe Matarese acts like he's the first guy to ever try this. Guys, you know what I was going to do? I was going to go and do new material. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what people do all the time. That's how it
that's
becomes
the
old
goal.
material. Yeah.
What he's doing, though, is it's not only new material, it's new material that he wrote on the 20-minute drive to the venue.
On the way in.
You're right. Because I was thinking, when he said he wrote the set list, I was thinking he already written the jokes and was just
Yeah.
deciding what order
Yeah,
to put
yeah.
them in. Because that's how I think of the term set list. But you're right. Because when he rebooted his podcast recently, he came in with a whole monologue that he had written on the train on the way to the studio.
see, yeah.
And it was so bad. It was like, Joe, it's been a couple days. I need material. You don't have to do it in 20 minutes.
Oh, Vinny gave me some great advice. He said, write something, don't touch it for a couple of days,
Yeah.
and then come back to it and reread it, see what you think about it then before
Punch it up
you
a
ever
little
do
bit.
right.
Yeah. They tell you in comedy, whatever your first idea for a punchline is, it's not the best one.
Yeah.
Come up with 2 or 3 more because you're going to come up with something more absurd. If you thought of it, someone else will too, and it won't be that funny.
Yeah.
But Joe Matarese he's been doing comedy for decades. He has no idea about any of these principles. All right.
Yeah.
So Now we get into the crux of things. This is the explanation. This is a longer clip. Tell me to pause it anywhere if you have comments to make.
So I was doing this show. So you saw, and when I was doing it, I walk on stage, and there's a lady sitting to the right with 8-year-old twins just sitting there. And I knew the material I wanted to talk about was dirty. She's got her fucking 8-year-old twins sitting there. And I'm
One of
like,
your dirty jokes, you have 2 8-year-old twins there, and you can't think of anything funny to say.
But he did say he didn't notice them until later on in his set.
Right.
So
Oh, we all saw it was actually 2 minutes in, though. It really wasn't too later on. It just felt like an eternity.
It did.
It felt like an eternity for me too.
Yeah, and I didn't even play the whole thing. I just pulled some clips from it. But yes.
If he wanted to walk that woman, he could have very well just made some
More
twin
jokes?
8-year-old jokes. I could really talk. You could really get dirty with that,
Yeah, could have had some fun with it.
which is what he wanted to do.
And right, and he keeps complaining about I was on YouTube. Like, that's the time to do something outrageous like that.
I don't even think he had to get outrageous jokes. He just needed to continue doing what he was doing.
All right.
He
Yeah.
would have walked freely.
Push through.
That's a great point. He could have just said, I'll lose this room. The people online and the world, I'm going to play to the TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll go viral. People will be talking about Joe Matarese. Can't
Right.
believe the crass things he said.
Viral for the right reason.
8-year-old twins. Right. Yeah, for once.
8-year-olds, dude.
Yeah, Mike David's on there going, Joe Matarese is the greatest comic. I can't believe how good this is. You know, he just wins
Turned
everyone
it
over.
around.
He wins the entire internet over. He's on Joe Rogan next week.
Gets a key to the city.
Nope, that's not the way it went for Joe, unfortunately.
this is gonna be weird. Did you pay to get in? I said to her. And she's looking at me like I'm crazy, like she didn't pay to get in. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck's going on? And finally I say to her, Can you please leave? I asked nicely. I go, I don't feel comfortable doing stand-up adult material in front of your 2 8-year-old kids sitting in the fucking front row.
And that's fine. I can understand that. But if the mom's okay with it, then gloves are off.
Yeah,
She's the one bringing the kids to the show.
And I'm just gonna chime in as a Sicilian myself. And
Yeah.
after attending my mother's 60-something birthday, she requested a roast of herself, dude, in the comedy there. And plenty of kids. Trust me, Sicilians have no hold back on the word F
Okay.
around children.
Okay. So it would have
Or
been
the
fine,
F
is what
word
you're saying.
around
These
children. Yeah.
These kids
They're-
wouldn't go on to shoot up a
especially
school or
Italian
something.
shit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Come on now. He should have
Can you-
no holds bar. So yeah.
But it's made him very uncomfortable. And so we had to make the entire room uncomfortable by
man.
kicking this woman out. Which, the way to get everyone against you immediately.
Yeah.
Leave. And she left nicely. She's like, okay. I go, did you pay to get in?
Sadly.
How did you even get in here? And she's just looking at me oddly. She
did
gets
you-
up with her 2 8-year-olds.
How'd you even get in here? That's none of your business.
Are you legal?
Do you have papers?
And she leaves, right? She leaves. I'm going to stop here on the street to explain this to you. So she leaves.
I'd love if somebody started handing him money.
And
Poor guy, they're just flicking quarters at him. Best of luck, buddy.
I start to try to go into my my set list that I had prepared, that I was going to riff for all the people on YouTube to watch. Thought it would have been interesting to watch me try to fucking make all these subjects funny that I've never done on stage before, which is probably crazy that I was trying to do that.
Right.
Not many comedians could go riff 45 minutes.
Not even you, apparently.
Especially not you. Especially not you. I've never seen you be funny off the cuff. What are you thinking with this, Joe?
But I was like, oh, let's see if I can do it.
You know what that is? That's the laziest thing possible.
Yeah.
To be like, I'm not going to do my material because I just put out a special. What if I wing it for 45 minutes and see what happens? It's a horrible idea.
What if God blesses me with the ability to write a new 45 on the spot?
just on the spot. Just by observing things like ice being poured in the bin.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to crush it with this one.
So after I asked the lady to leave, I start to go into the material, and I'm bombing. I'm getting nothing.
Go figure.
And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on?
Are there more kids in here?
If you were watching it live, finally they leave. And now, when I'm doing the material, the crowd's pulling back. And I'm like, are you guys mad at me that I made her leave? I mean,
We're mad at you because you're not making us laugh.
Yeah.
Joe. That's why we're mad at you. You're wasting my time right now.
15 minutes into the set. Why are you guys mad at me?
Right. He's incredible.
she was there with her 8-year-olds, and they're like, you know, you could have handled that. You could have handled that. And I'm like, oh, I was uncomfortable with it.
It's a good
I
point.
don't know. I wasn't thinking about the crowd and that you guys wouldn't be comfortable with it. And I'm uncomfortable doing comedy with little kids sitting right next to me. It feels odd
Oh,
and
when he puts it
weird,
like that.
and I don't want that.
They weren't in his lap.
And the crowd was probably pulling back because they didn't want to get called out for not paying for their tickets either.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And then the whole crowd hated me. So
What do you mean hated? They still do.
Right.
push comes to shove. I want you to know this. I find out at the end. This is classic. This is fucking my luck.
All right, I wrote that down in my notes. This is fucking my luck. Now, what he's about to explain to you is all his fault. Okay? The fact that he didn't know what this show was, what he was getting himself into,
Going
didn't ask
into,
any
yeah.
questions, and they're just like, "Pfft, just got bad luck again. No, Joe, you're in control of all of this. This is your fault.
Made no attempt to engage with the audience in any way to learn who was there, what
Yeah.
was going on. Why'd you guys come out tonight? No, why would you even think of coming out tonight? Was
Yeah,
his
he
response.
scolded them for being there. That was the first thing he did. It's like, what are you, an idiot? You guys came to the show, you don't know who I am?
We're
Just
here
like,
to save dogs, Joe.
I didn't think I was an idiot, but okay.
The one time I decide to try something a little weird and film myself doing a set live and let YouTube people watch it, I find out that lady
I'm one of those.
who was with the kids was like best friends with this other lady who bought all these tickets for all the people that were there because it was a fundraiser for some.
They didn't want to say. They didn't pay for their tickets either.
Well, no. What he's explaining is like they decided as a big group, let's all go out. We'll watch comedy,
Yeah.
but listen to this, Delicious, because this is the reason why they're all there.
Fundraiser for some dog organization.
How do you not know that? How do you? I guarantee there's an unread email in his inbox right now that's like, by the way, this gig is a fundraiser for dogs.
There must have been a flyer.
How do you not ask anyone?
The host
Get any
didn't mention it?
information about what's going on? This is insane.
He didn't check his fax machine.
No, he did not.
It's like, of course. Right.
And the
That
guy-
explains why when he went up, he said, you guys don't even know who we're seeing tonight. It's like, no, we're here for a fundraiser. We
Correct.
don't.
Saving a
They said they had a
dog.
comedian.
Yes, yes. Entertain us, funny man.
And the guy that hired me, he never told me that. I had no idea.
Did you ask any questions about the gig? I do this crazy thing when I'm going to perform live somewhere. I get all the information possible about the venue, the event, who's going to be there, what the cover charge is, all these things.
To be fair, I don't blame the booker for being vague. It's a tough room. It was not an audience that seemed to want to laugh. It makes sense why, Joe, you have to ask these questions.
Yeah, for sure.
That this was a fundraiser. I had no idea that the lady
These
that's
ladies.
with the two kids is even in the audience. Like, you would have thought he would have came up to me and said, hey, Joe, there's a lady in the front row with 2 little kids.
Now he has to explain that? Like, I thought you had eyeballs. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I needed to tell you there's a lady in the front row with children. Okay.
Just ignore them because her friend paid for half the audience's tickets because they're raising money for this organization. That's what I did to help fill the room a little bit tonight. And I would have been like, okay, but no one fucking told me. So I asked the lady to leave, who's best friends with a lady that bought half the room tickets. No wonder they all stopped laughing. They wouldn't
really
laugh
gonna
at me
hate
at
him.
all.
Listen, Joe, ignore your 30 years of comedy experience that tells you to randomly attack the audience member in the front with vulnerable children and just ignore them. Why didn't he tell me that?
And this thing he says at the end is so frustrating to me.
A lady that bought half the room tickets. No wonder they all stopped laughing. They wouldn't laugh at me at all.
So he thinks that they were protesting him.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you weren't saying anything funny.
Yeah.
Is the reason why they weren't laughing. If the rest of his set was anything like what we saw that he did record, he didn't say anything funny.
No.
You know, like when Bono's there and you
Complained
look
a
up at
lot.
the screen
And
to
you
see his dick.
I think his dick.
I think that was his best joke. We remembered it.
Right. I have no idea what he said about that ice.
That's all I remember.
I don't remember it all.
Dick.
Oh yeah, Bono's dick is the only. That's what he should call the set list. Bono's dick. It's pretty good. All right. So just a couple more clips real quick. More excuses coming from
Yes,
Joe. And I'll tell you, if you find yourself in a predicament where things went south, look inward.
Yes.
Always look inward.
Right.
Try to figure out, what could I have done differently? What should I do differently next time? Not Joe Matarese. He's got excuses.
It's the crowd.
I don't like doing comedy with little kids sitting there. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't, especially when I'm going to try to riff a set. I'm going to riff in front of two little, it's just, there's a disconnect. I don't like it. And again, I haven't been on stage in like 2 weeks, so I'm a little stale.
There's always truth
So
with
there's that going on. But come on. You gotta let the comedian know what's going on.
Ask. You got to let the comedian know what's going on.
I had one note here where he said because he says the whole audience hates him.
Yeah.
And I had a note here. It's really tough that he gets that in person too.
Right. Yeah, I know.
You'd think, you go, it's all just online. Online people are tough. It's what it is.
Yeah.
You go out in the world, everybody's nice, welcoming. We laugh with each other. Joe Matarese, not in his experience.
In his experience, everything's a YouTube chat room.
Right.
That's rough.
How does
Everything's
he-
the comment section for him.
And how do we know that the YouTube viewers weren't in the same boat as the?
I don't think there
physical
were
viewers?
YouTube viewers.
Yeah.
I mean, there are now. Thank you to Stalin 19 for
Now,
uploading
now it
this for
became
us.
entertaining. To
Yes.
them.
Now we're into it. I love that he goes, guys, there's kids there. I wanted to riff. Plus, I haven't been on stage in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So now we're just running through a list of excuses. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
And 2 weeks is not a long time. I understand you want to get your reps in and stay
Yeah.
fresh, but I've never heard a comic go, I bombed, but I haven't been on stage in 2 weeks.
2 weeks does feel like a long time when you're on stage all
Sure.
the time, though.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I would understand that. Okay. So let's see. Oh, don't worry, guys. He's okay with this because he's on meds.
No, the club and the restaurant didn't get mad at me. Because the only smart thing I did there,
Was leave
I
right
never
away.
lost my shit. And I know that's because I'm on meds. I never was like, what the fuck is going on? Blah, blah, blah. I never like,
Again, and I give Joe Matarese advice all the time. I don't think he owes me anything for it. I'm happy to give it to him for free. That's why you're so fucking boring, Joe. Like we were talking about before, this could have gone viral. This could have been a really interesting video. And instead, he kept his cool, just asked a nice lady and her children to leave. And now we're making fun of it.
Yeah.
He's got to get off his meds and start freaking out at people.
Yeah. He might have a better reaction.
Yeah.
got aggressive, which I used to get before the meds. So
Oh, back when you were famous.
I kept
Right.
my anger in check. I never yelled at anybody. I just bombed. So no one usually gets mad at you.
Actually, if he did yell at people for him bombing, that would be pretty fucked up. Like, why would you have yelled at anyone, Joe? What did they do to you? Just didn't laugh at your jokes?
Well, he
You
would
think
have
they're-
opened with the yelling. He would have said, "Why are you all here? This should be an empty room."
What the fuck?
Going to as a comedian, you think you're in trouble if you bomb. You're really not. Just don't yell at anybody.
I think Joe's in
Just
trouble.
fucking bomb
His career's in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he thinks is gonna punish him for this. You're punishing yourself.
Yes.
anybody. Just fucking bomb, get your money, and go home.
Okay, so that's the last of the clip. So I don't know if he did get the money beforehand or not.
You know, and that's the other thing, though. Like, even during a set, nothing's worse than when the talent's talking about any type of payment or anything going on, or even ticket sales. Man, just it makes
it's
me
gross.
cringe, even
It's
sitting
gross
behind-
to sit there and be like, "Oh, good thing I got paid before the show started."
Yeah,
Just
even
like,
as a producer sitting back there and hearing that shit, it just
it's
it's kind of because nobody wants to hear that as an audience member.
well, also it's cringe. And how much money could you possibly be making?
Yes.
You drove your car
Yep.
up to Stamford, Connecticut to perform in front of 30 people. You walked half the room
At a pizza joint for a dog.
for a fundraiser.
Well, what does he ask to appear at a show like that? You know, is he getting? I can't.
That's a good
It
question.
could be.
Hey, Joe,
the
you should come
range.
to the Jester's Lounge. We'll pay you there.
'Cause he has an agent, so there must be some negotiating on his behalf that's going on, and he has credits. And if you don't know it,
Well,
you could really sell him.
Wait
in
a
a way.
second. Does he have an agent? Because I just realized something I didn't pick up on the first time.
Oh,
the
maybe.
booker was in touch with him directly.
Right.
The
Yeah.
booker didn't tell me there was a fundraiser. Not my agent didn't tell me. My
Yeah,
manager
yeah.
didn't
All
tell
right,
me.
all right.
So is this guy booking his own shows and then that's even worse. You can't have no one to blame on this one, Joe. You're booking your own shows on this. So I don't know. I don't know what's next for Joe. He keeps trying different things. It's not working. It seems like bombing and showing that on the internet and not even apologizing for it, making excuses for it. I don't know what comedy club. Maybe your comedy club would want to have Joe Matarese come out and bomb.
Joe. We could get you to bomb in more than 30
Whoa,
people.
It's America's Got Talent, Joe Matarese in
Yeah.
Dubuque, Iowa. That would be a great
man.
show.
Actually,
Okay.
it would be a great show. It would fill the room.
Are you listening, Joe?
Yeah.
Give a plug for your comedy club.
Definitely. Yeah, the Jester's Lounge in Dubuque, Iowa. Dude, hit me up. Delicious, man. If you're interested, check us
Beautiful.
out.
Joe Matarese and I are already in contact. He could just get in contact
Yeah,
with
there
me
you
and we'll
go.
get him
Get a
over to
hold
the
of-
Jester's
get a hold
Lounge.
of
That'd be
David
great. We could
Collins,
discuss
man.
the billing there. You know, I'm
We're
not
on
sure.
the way to Chicago. Next time you're going to Chicago, Joe.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's past Chicago from his perspective,
Good point.
but you're pretty
an East
close.
Coaster.
What's
It's
2
barely
hours?
out of your way. Do you have the clip of him going to his car at all? I was
No,
wondering?
I don't.
So he gets back in his car and he's talking to the chat now, and eventually he sits back in his car and he says, like, guys, I need to get off this live stream. I need to drive home. He's staying on the live stream for another 5 minutes, but he turns on the car and the Bluetooth in the car picks up the audio. so then he's talking, but it doesn't even sound like he's talking anymore. It sounds like the radio. So it's very distracting. It's hard to
Yes.
get into. But when you first hear it, you're saying, oh, this must be where he got that inspiration for the school closing bit in his special, where he just has his voice playing over recording while he's doing this gambling addict routine, waiting for the number to skip.
You know what? Let's watch just a little bit of that because I figured we'd got enough of this, but I do have the full video here. So
Hello.
all right, it's right before this. I think.
This moment got me laughing.
Like, slamming doors.
As Rich Voss always says, stay in school.
What?
Huh?
And I hope I get paid now. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta hope I get paid now.
That
Is
is
that a
crazy. And also, something else I was going to say when you were talking about how gross it is to bring up, I'm going to get
Yeah.
paid either way,
Yeah.
especially at a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Like people are
Right.
trying to raise money. We're
Yeah.
paying money for this fucking clown.
Yep.
It's like when you win the 50-50 at the bachelor party.
Oh, see.
You're just like, yeah, man, keep it. We're raising money for you
Yeah.
tonight. You know, it's kind of, you want to like give the money back. We're all here for the same reason.
Well,
Like cancer shows and stuff.
Yeah. Like Joe would have been good to
Yeah.
be like, guys, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Misunderstanding. Keep the money.
Yeah.
I was nice enough.
they see Joe
Do a
and they say,
show.
no, we insist.
I always do
Right.
contracts and shit like that. I didn't do a contract. Thank you, Peter Sky Parker. I didn't do a contract.
Yeah, I know that guy. He was in Vegas.
And then guy who hired me left.
The guy who hired him ran out of there like, oh shit, I'm going to have some explaining to do if I stick around. That guy.
I'm sure to the bitch that bought all the tickets for everybody.
Here's I have the actual audio of the guy who booked the show leaving.
Oh, wow.
There he goes.
Nice.
I don't fucking know.
We do.
So compelling.
Is
You
it?
guys are fucking crazy.
It really is. It's
You
directed
guys
by
are crazy.
Scorsese or something.
I just filmed my whole life.
What a
Just
shadow.
24 hours.
Dude, if this was in a movie and it's like this guy's about to lose it
Yeah.
and just start on a murder spree, you'd be like, this is really well acted.
Like
I am buying this.
Is he just like waiting for someone to respond on YouTube or something?
That's a
Is he
great
waiting for
question.
something?
What are you
Like,
doing, Joe?
He's like
Today,
staring at the screen.
I'll just film my whole life
There's 33 people watching at this time.
Oh,
You
okay.
can see the
There we
number right
go.
there and
All
22 likes.
Life-saving likes.
Just leave it run. It just follows me everywhere. I have the fucking solar power running the phone.
It's dark out.
Power, yeah.
What's he talking about?
He's back to the list.
Yeah. Feel free to send funds on the special. There's 2 links in there that you can send
He's always
funds for the
promoting.
cause.
Yeah, we lost you,
Watch
Joe.
it.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Oh, he had to hook up the Bluetooth, probably.
It's like he was
Yeah.
listening to a lost tape
Hey,
in
a
a video
comedian
game.
got back to me who's going to help me.
He does have a
Said he'd help
delay.
promote the special.
Yeah, he's probably on Bluetooth or
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
something. Okay.
I'm not going to say who it is till we do it because I don't trust you guys. Someone will sabotage it. But someone big.
What a weird
Oh,
life that
yeah.
you're living. Like, why are you talking to the internet if you don't trust anyone on the internet? I spend 0 time talking to the internet while going about my day.
Who are these podcasts?